is out there.
I'll check in.
So I'm going to slowly call the regular council meeting to order. We'll give the comments. And then I will recognize me to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this time to come together this evening, Lord, to be here. We ask you, Lord, for your wisdom, your guidance, and just help us, Lord, in making decisions that are good for the town and all that we do and all that we say. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Next item is the reading of the minutes for August 18th. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes as written?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I thought they were well written.
Seeing none, then all in favor of the minutes to be approved as written, do so with show of hands. And the next item is the administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, do you have anything you want to add?
I have put a bunch of papers on in front of you all dealing with different subjects on the agenda tonight. But the one thing I wanted to look at now is the letter for DOT. It's a draft copy. It looks okay. I'll get it mailed out tomorrow. This is based on our workshop we had last night. Talked to Dan Dennis and got the final price of $33,000 to do that study. And I've got a similar letter that we'll send to Richmond County also.
And looks like you're asking, what, is it 50%?
50%.
Okay.
All the roads in question are DOT roads. Shillingford, Kirkstone, Charney Cross, Broadway, they're all DOT roads. So they should be putting some of this bill.
And then what part will Richmond County pay? Part, ask them to pay too, and then maybe.
Right. Well, there's an agreement between DOT and Richmond County. Richmond County actually does clean up like storm drain ditches. But their DOT doesn't come out and clean ditches. Storm drain in residential areas.
The letter looks good to me.
Any other quick? Oh,
Yes, you said you got that quote back from Dennis
Yes.
for the comprehensive study for the,
Yes, that's the amount that's in the letter.
and we made sure we included the hydrologists and
Yes.
all the things they were talking about last night that they would need to have.
Yeah, he spent this morning with, talked to Adam, which was the gentleman that was
Yeah.
here last night at the meeting, and they've got it all together, and that includes everything.
Okay.
Does that have to be bid out, or we just give it to them, or give bids, or?
Don't need to bid it, council doesn't want to, because they did the preliminary report, so they're already on board with what we want to do here. You can use them as the same source if you still desire. It'll be on the next agenda, the contract with Dennis.
What about the options of, creating those retention bonds as opposed to?
That will all come out in the study. It'll take, like I said, he still says it'll take about 3 months to complete that study.
3 months?
And that's what he's looking at. I mean, their hydrologist is only one person.
No, I understand. I mean, when we get this document, we're gonna have, this is a fix, this is option 1, option 2.
That's correct. That's what he told me.
Okay.
It would include what we need to do and estimated cost to do it.
Okay.
Any more questions? Oh, I had one. Actually, I had two. The new sanitation schedule. Did we get that, or did I just not get it, or was it on our iPad? The one that we're looking at tonight?
No, we have nothing. That's what they will present
okay.
to us.
Okay, so we don't have anything to.
Yeah, we had a proposal in an email that came out about a month ago, but they were gonna finalize it and let us know what, their final product is.
Okay. And I think that was it. Well, I had a note down here on item D. I went back and looked at those minutes. Those minutes really wasn't for a vote on discussion. The minutes were for a vote on placing discussion as an agenda item. Is that?
That's correct.
Well, okay.
That's
I just want
correct.
to make sure I.
And the council at the time decided
Not to place it on the
not to
agenda.
place it on there as an agenda item. That's
Okay.
correct.
Any other questions? Next item is receive communication, is item A, final report from Sheriff Lott. I'm not sure if that's something you want
Well, I emailed it to everybody, and I'm sure that you've all picked up a paper copy, also the letter, and also what the mayor provided me, the ticket count sheet that came from Sheriff Lott's office.
When did we get those ticket counts?
to. Is she here?
It was a paper copy that was in your,
Yeah, I met with him.
Did that come with the report?
no, it did
No,
not.
we didn't get a report, all we got. I met with him last Wednesday to kind of clarify or to clear some answer questions I had. And this is basically what they gave me to show how many tickets were in the bags that they counted.
So they count 180,000 tickets.
Yeah.
One by one.
Yes.
Are we gonna get billed for this?
And then that shows how much each vendor was overpaid, and I think there was one that was underpaid. But if you look at it closely,
Mm-hmm.
this map, it'll be,
I don't know how to get it down.
I mean, this don't, what they, I've been over some of it 2 or 3 times, and none of the columns, I don't.
We can't hear you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Bob,
I said maybe my calculator doesn't work either, I'm not sure.
Bob, will you turn that on? Is it on? Your microphone.
Oh,
Should be green.
nope.
Okay, there you go.
It's off. Oh, thanks for that now. Any other received communication?
Just the last night's
Yeah.
meeting and the information, which I guess we've already been over.
Yeah, that letter.
Yeah.
So 11, we still have to put that on the agenda for next time to get Mr. Gass to do the in-depth study.
What if we
Is that right?
hear back?
No, this is just a request, this letter is a request of DOT and Richmond County to help us finance the study. Next week's, next agenda will be approval to contract with Phoenix Corporation.
Right.
That's what you want to do in the amount of $33,000 to do the study. That will get the ball rolling for the actual study.
Mhm. That's what I'm saying. Are we gonna put that on the agenda next
I
time?
guess
or-
so. I guess so.
So we're gonna do that, add that to the agenda next meeting as an action item? To kind of.
I raised an issue last night,
Mhm.
in regards to that if we are not going to have to bid it out, could we not go ahead and authorize Dennis Corporation to move forward with that and save another couple of weeks?
We need to have it on the agenda for that amount of money.
But that around, okay.
So everybody's in agreement
There's
there.
not a particular issue with that. That's-
Okay.
I wanted to bring, slap, two received communications, and I just want to make sure I understand. One of them, can that thing be turned down, or does it sound echoey to me, or just me?
It's just you.
Okay, just kind of vibrates in my ears.
Bob, do you know how to turn it down?
That's fine, it was not,
The line is
just,
okay.
it sounds like it's bouncing. Anyway, Tension Pond at Ridgemont. I wanted to ask about that. I had the gentleman come in my shop Monday, this week, no, last week, actually.
I've already had that on my list for the executive session, we can talk about it.
Okay, so you can fill us in on what the status is and where and everything we know.
Exactly where we are.
Okay, that's one thing I want to find. The other thing is, I think my wife had sent an email about a tree, and I think I saw some stuff, but I have it's in our property. Even if it's in the buffer zone, it's still ours. And if it's dead or dangerous or liable, I think we still need to act without.
Well,
If council basically said we don't want to cut it down and it falls down, we're still liable.
that's correct.
So, I don't know that we need to, I think if somebody spots something, we just need to, you make a decision, Whit makes a decision, and it's done.
Well, I just needed to clear that up because, you know,
Okay.
council had made it real clear to the homeowners when we were developing the park that we weren't going to touch the buffer area.
Well, I knew we weren't going to build nothing in it,
We
but I
weren't going
think
to touch
that's,
it.
We're gonna maintain it either.
well, we're not maintaining it, but stuff is dead and it falls.
Yeah, and the tree just died the last couple
Yeah,
of days,
I think
so
it is. Yeah.
Whit looked at it. He's already got a call in and take it down.
Okay, I'm good. Any other city communication? Seeing none. Next item is presentation by citizens for items on the agenda tonight. This is where anyone who wants to address council on any items on the agenda may do so at this time. All we ask is you give us your name and address for the record, and then also what agenda item we'll be discussing.
Mr. Mayor,
Unfinished business or new business? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is George Glassmeyer, 100 Denbeck Road. I'd like to address items A, B, and C under new business. A, first of all, as to the garbage problems and trash pickup problems we've had over the recent months and years, I understand that they're ongoing. They can't seem to get it solved 100%. And I'm concerned that a proposal may be floated to go back to multiple days or different days for trash and garbage pickup. I'm opposed to that for a number of reasons. I like the fact that all the trash and garbage is picked up on one day in the town, because then we only have roll carts sitting out on the street one day, and everybody in town knows that Wednesday's the day. I go back to the day, as I know Harvey does, when we used to have 2 pickups a week on household garbage, and that was consolidated. But if you go to different days, you're going to have a problem with educating the citizens as to what day is their day. Roll carts are going to be sitting out all week. The code enforcement officers are going to have a difficult time figuring out who's in violation of the roll cart ordinance, because they're going to have to have a map and figure out, wait a minute, okay, this street in New Friars Gate is on Tuesday, this street's on Thursday, and there's going to be a lot of confusion on that issue. If everybody feels that to move some of the service to a different day would resolve the problem, I would suggest that you move the day for yard trash pickup to one other day for the whole town, but leave recycling and household on Wednesday. If that'll ameliorate or alleviate the problem, I would suggest that you look at that for a solution. As to items B and C, yet again, we have a bunch of drunken, in my view, a bunch of drunken sailors up here on council that are spending money like water. And I checked with Mr. Brown earlier or last week to get a running total on how much money has been spent in this park, and he tells me that if both of these expenditures are approved, will be over $2.1 million. Now, as Mr. Hoots will attest to, I'm sure, I wanted no park 2 parks ago. And I was assured repeatedly when this particular park was in the planning and proposal stages, Mr. Walker assured me and this town repeatedly that the cost would not exceed $1 million. If you approve these, it is more than doubled that. I'm also told by Mr. Brown that the current restroom facilities at the park meet the needs of the people using it all the time except for Ochre Strut. And even if you approve this tonight, this certainly wouldn't be ready by Ochre Strut, perhaps next year. But, ladies and gentlemen, the bleeding has to stop at some point. We don't need more money, especially you're talking almost $100,000 here spent on yet another park. To quote, I believe it was Everett Dirksen, a former U.S. Senator, I think Harvey will know this expression, to loosely quote him, 100,000 here, 100,000 there, pretty soon you're talking some real money. Okay? You're talking some real money here. I want it to stop. We spent enough on this park, particularly when I was lied to about how much it was going to cost to begin with, repeatedly assured, won't be more than $1 million. Well, this will put it over $2 million. End the bleeding. Thank you.
Bob, what's our, don't we have a surplus this year?
I haven't seen the final audit report yet, but I suspect we will have some.
A surplus?
Yes, sir.
And we still have no taxes in the town of Irmo?
That's correct.
Okay. So even if we spend $2 million on this park, we're not imposing any fees on our citizens for taxes or anything like that to pay for it.
That's correct.
So we've actually built this park basically from generation funds that we got outside the community, funds we got generated from, donations from other people, right?
Well,
I just wondered, I'm just asking the question, okay.
I'd like to address those points. First of
I
all,
don't need you to address them, sir, I'm talking to Mr. Bob Brown. You made your point, you can have a seat.
No, hold on. This is a time for presentation by citizens, and this is not really a time for us to discuss, this is a time for the citizens to discuss, and you kind of open the door, so I'm gonna let you finish, and then hopefully we can move on.
thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with you. The agenda says presentation by citizens. And just because you have the money, I understand that it's budgeted for this, just because you have the money doesn't mean you need to spend it. And it's not accurate to say that that town citizens are not being subjected to any fees or taxes, because I have a garbage bill that I have to pay with my tax bill every year, and that's a tax because that's a fee imposed by government that I have to pay, and I'm also being assessed a 3% tax on my utilities by Mid-Carolina. So, and all that goes into town coffers. So don't sit there and say that I'm not taxed and feed. Mr. Hoots has made the proposal for some time now to eliminate garbage fees in the town. Now, I know you're going to say we've got the lowest in the area, but you know what? They're not zero. When you eliminate my garbage fees and my utility taxes, then you can talk about spending surpluses. But I feel like I'm in the city of Columbia now because you people are hell-bent to spend money on bells and whistles and not focus on essential services. The next thing you're going to do is try to get a minor league ball club in here. It's got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I did not come prepared to speak. However, the park situation kind of does spark something for me, and I think I just want to say, because...
What's your name?
Yeah, name and address.
I'm sorry, Robin
Yeah,
Barker,
Okay.
130 Hexham Circle.
Go.
The park situation just kind of sparked something for me, only because there has been good things that have come from the park. So my question is, if everybody is no park, when I grew up here in Irmo, and I didn't have a lot of places to play. I played in the streets and in the woods, but those woods aren't really there anymore. So my children, I take to the park. I take to several of the parks that we go to. So I just want to say thank you for the parks, honestly. So thank you for what you've done, and thank you for having that done without a lot of our tax money. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, just name and address and then what item on the agenda.
David Charneski at 306 Shillingford Road. I just want to say thank you for everybody for attending, for doing that, bringing that together last night, and we're excited, and I appreciate everything, and Mr. Williams and everybody, we appreciate everything that everybody's done. So I wanted to say thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none. The next item is unfinished business. Second reading of second reading of ordinance 1513 to annex property at Salem Church in Muskrat Road. Is there a motion for second? Motion for second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is coming in as RG.
Archie, that's correct. put the maps in front of you. One's the one you had last time, that shows what the property is in relation to the town, boundary line, and the second page shows the zoning around it. Someone's asked for that, so it's actually connecting the other RG and FA properties.
Okay. It's pretty close to the lake, but it's not on the lake,
You know,
right? Okay.
it's a couple hundred yards away, maybe.
Just that,
300.
I think those two little pieces there where it says Tennyson on that second map.
Yeah, Tennyson
Those two
is
little
that,
three. I
it's
think
Land's
those-
End, that's, those condominiums,
Yeah,
Land's
there's little
End.
3 tracks there. I think that little white spot is actually blue.
That's in town, it's just like 10 minutes.
Hmm?
That's in town.
All of this is,
Oh, it's in town?
yeah.
Was that Mott's property we did a couple of years back? Probably this, many years back.
Right here is the water plant, is it?
That's correct. It's one of our spots right next to it.
Do we have any idea what they want to do with this land? Okay.
I want to say, wasn't it
They
was it Stanback or somebody, or Gerald
Stanback.
Steele?
That's the one that came in with, yes, and he was talking possibly, like townhouses condominium, but I haven't seen any plan, I don't know exactly what they're going to do yet.
Okay.
Not going to be commercial.
So any more discussion? All in favor then of second reading of ordinance 1513, do so show of hand. All opposed? Next item is second reading of ordinance 1514 to amend our parking, off-street parking, Article 2, Table 1. Is there a motion for second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is just to change the parking regulations from square footage to people,
Correct.
to employees,
Employees.
which, and it's only for 2 small classifications.
The light manufacturing and, the big manufacturing.
I think it's a good idea.
What does that last, and I could be reading this, but that last sentence, where it says, we basically reduce from 1 space per 500 feet to 2 spaces per 3 employees on the shift of greatest employment, plus 1 per company, the requirements for manufacturing. Is that typo or not?
We're dealing with 2 types of classifications here.
What's the plus 1 per company?
I think it's company vehicle. I think it's company vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Is that what it's supposed to be? It just says plus 1 per company, the requirement.
Greatest, which is the greatest.
So,
If they added 5,000 square feet, and they didn't add an employee, they'd still be required to put in a parking space.
okay,
But in this
So-
case, we're dealing with select comfort, which is what prompted this. And they're adding
to reduce 1 space per 500,
square feet.
to reduce from 1 space per 500 square feet of floor space to 2 separate spaces per 3 employees on the shift of greatest employment. I understand that.
Plus 1 per company,
Plus 1 per,
which is making the company add another parking place, and if not per employee, just 1.
per company. And then it should be, I guess, a period if I'm reading it. And then it says the requirements for
We put a colon, semicolon.
Okay, I'm thinking there was a word missing or something was missing. I couldn't figure out what was missing. Okay. And then the other one is just for the warehouse.
Yes.
Any more questions, discussion? All in favor then of second reading of ordinance 1514, do so show of hands. All opposed? And next item is new business. approval to adopt a new sanitation schedule from Advanced, well, do we need him to come explain it, or do we want to vote on it first and see if we want anything, or?
I was gonna present it first, I ain't
Okay,
gonna.
okay.
Yeah, to answer your question, if you don't mind, just vote, you know, stick with one vote, we have to vote on that.
Bring a few of these up there for y'all to see.
Second, yeah.
Well, thanks for having us tonight. What we've done here, and we kind of sent an email out ahead of time and kind of broke it down. And we tried to rectify some of the issues we was having, but I think Bob and y'all was leaning towards multiple days so we can have maybe more of a personal touch, and I think that's what this is going to do. On what we're proposing here is on the trash pickup, and if you pull your paper clip off, it's the first 5 things. We'll go to a 5-day. We'll be here every day doing trash in these sections, and breaks it down. You got your Monday map, your Tuesday map, and those are the areas that we run all the trash, household trash and yard waste on the same day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think what we really gain there, it's a much smaller area. It'd be 1 truck, 1 driver. It should be on a normal day. It should be about a 1:30, 2 o'clock day. After he gets done with his route on Monday, he can swing by, see Vi or whoever's in the office there, and then going on. He's got plenty of time to go back out and correct anything at that moment, and then we move on. And if something happens a little bit later that day, the next day the same guy's back there in the same truck, so he can come talk to y'all the next day and say, hey, well, yesterday, we missed this stop, or this stop put it out late, whatever it is. And I think we have a little better reaction time because we're going to be here every day. Just 1 guy, 1 driver, a little more better relationship with the town hall downtown. So that's for the trash and the recycle. Or trash, I'm sorry, the trash in the yard trash. Now your recycle, what I was wanting to do there, we have every other week recycle. And so right now we run 4 routes on Wednesday. I want to keep all the recycle on Wednesday just like it is now, except break it down to an A and a B week. So we'd run 2 routes on the A week, and then the next week the same driver, same truck will be back, and he'll run 2 routes on the B week. So basically you'd have 1 trash truck and 1 yard waste truck every day. Then on Wednesday you'd have 2 recycle trucks. And then that's about all we'd have. I think it simplifies it, and I think it, we've already got some drivers who's asked to be, if this works out, they've asked to be your guys' driver because they know all the routes and they like this area. So I think it'll be a win-win for everybody if we can do this. And if you flip on back to the back behind these maps, whenever for notification purposes, what we would do, we have a little template here. We can change this however y'all want to change it, but I think it pretty much explains what we're trying to do. And what we'd be shooting for would be September 28th. For the 2 weeks prior to that, we'll follow the truck down the road, and every time we dump a can, we'll get out and we'll put one of these little flyers under the lid of that toter to notify that resident. And we'll do that 2 weeks in a row, and then the 3rd week is when we'll actually start running the new route. So we'll have 2 weeks of notification, and then we'll start running the routes that following week, on the week of the September 28th. It never works first go around. There's always somebody who either kids get it and they throw the paper away before the mom and dad sees it or whatever. But that following 2 weeks, we'll work with the town, and I can send an extra truck back. That's no problem, and clean anything up that for people who didn't get notified or didn't realize they got notified. Put it that way. And when we're notified about the recycle being the A and the B week, and everybody will get this calendar, And if you're in A week, you'll get this counter, and it's highlighted, you see on the counter it's highlighted. You know, if you're on the 7th, 21st, you know, those are your days. If you're on B week, they'll get the other calendar, and it's highlighted there on what days that their recycle will be on. So it's pretty simple once we roll it out. You know, it'll take a few people a couple weeks prior to get into the groove, but then they'll know what day their household trash is supposed to be set out. They'll know what day their recycle is supposed to be set out. You know, because it's just their house. It ain't that complicated once we get it rolled out. Any questions on any of this?
I just want to make sure I get, this one is
The
the
first,
household and the yard trash.
yeah,
first.
the first section, yeah, the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is household and yard waste.
Now, on the Wednesday, it's got Wednesday, start Wednesday. Does that mean anything, or is that just,
No, just Wednesday stays Wednesday.
that would be Wednesday,
They're already on Wednesday, so there'll be no changes in that area.
you do the recyclables on that Wednesday?
Yeah, so the people that ended up on Wednesday, they'd get no notification because they're not gonna get anything, nothing's gonna change. Yeah.
And then this one, with the 849 and those numbers,
Mm-hmm.
that's
That's the recycle.
recycle.
Yeah, and then we got 4 recycle routes we run now on Wednesday. So what we would do is continue running them all on Wednesday, but split them up to where you got 2 on A week and 2 on B week. That way we're not covering near as big as area. You got recycle here every week, and I think it would be, I think it just be better across the board. The only thing we had to do, we had to end up, to do this, we have to add 1 route. But I think with the end result, I think it's worth the extra money to add 1 route in the long run.
How much does it cost you to send a truck up here? One man, on 6 birds? I mean, approximately, I'm not asking.
Probably, you know, for a truck, for one of our trucks to run, it usually runs you about $75 an hour, is what it is. That's all in with
First
fuel,
one.
labor, maintenance, all that stuff's about $75 an hour.
So, right now, you guys are doing the entire town. You're doing roughly 97% of the town on Wednesday. And you're missing some people. But 97% of the times, you're picking up all the garbage like you're supposed to and all recyclables and all that stuff on that one day. Wouldn't it be cheaper for you or less confusing for us if you just had your regular Wednesday pickup and then had a Thursday to go catch the people that you might have missed or didn't get for some reason? Send another truck up on that Thursday, let's say, you know? I mean.
Yeah, it could be, but the other piece, the one piece I do like about this is, because right now we roll over here on Wednesday and we have, 13, 14 different drivers. Each one has their own route. Out of them 14 drivers, are we going to have some that's not as skilled as others? Yeah, or some that maybe just don't care as much as others. And this really limits the number of drivers that's inside your city limits. You're going to have the same trash guy every day. He's going to do trash every day. Same yard trash guy every day. And so it becomes a more of a partnership, I think. They'll get to know Vi or whoever else is in down hall, and they'll talk daily on what's going on, the previous day. So I think we gained there. There is, some monetary effect there, but I think with what we gain, our goal is to make you all happy, service your citizens well, and continue this. We've got a really long relationship. Continue it, going for years and years and years. Doing this, if that helps shore that up, I think this is a great thing to do.
Can you stick to the original agreement and just keep the one day and just make it work?
We can, and we could. You have more possibility for failures, I think, with that scenario, just because it is such an undertaking all in one day, and there's so many different people that play a part in that.
But that's what I'm saying, having Thursday as a backup day for, for misses and whatever, makeup day.
You're still dealing with, 14 different drivers. That's skill levels vary. If we do this, we got, and this my ops manager sitting back here, he's got people already laid out that are some of our best guys that they want to commit to Irmo. Just so
That's
you,
kind of what we heard with the one-day pickup.
well, the one day pickup, well, I wasn't part of that when they went to that. I'm not sure, but it's just like anything else. If you got one person standing here, or you got 14, it's easier to deal with one than it is 14. And that's what you basically get to. You get to where you're dealing with one guy for trash.
So you feel real committed to something like
I feel good about this. I feel good about it. I think it'll be, I think it'll be good. Like I said, I think we have that a lot more of a personal touch that you lose when you send a whole team in at one time, and I think you have less margin of error than you do with 14 different bodies running around your streets in the same day.
Well, I realize that you may think that the few that you miss as the system is set today, with Wednesday pickup, is a small number in the scheme of things with the entire thing. But goodness gracious, I don't understand why it has to be the same people over and over and over again. And that is one of the problems. It's hard to explain to somebody that, man, it was just, they happened to miss you this week, but they miss him next week and the next week. And then he gets picked up twice, and then they miss him the next week. It's hard for us to explain.
Right.
And I've always been told that your commitment was connected directly to your pocketbook. And if you're that committed, are you willing to go with a nice penalty if you don't produce? Is your commitment that strong?
But here's the other piece to that. A lot depends on what you call a nice penalty, but
$100 a location per day.
yeah, see, we couldn't do that because you're going to have some.
And you're not that committed, right?
Well, but here's the whole piece of that is you're going to have some that is our fault, and you're going to have some that is the homeowner's fault, and you're going to have really some that's nobody's fault other than the person that parked their big van in front of that toter, and whenever we drove by, no one could see it. But then that van leaves, we're saying it wasn't out, but the homeowner's saying I put it out, and we're both right. But it's that person who blocked it. So you're going to have some of that. And if you look, if you want to drill into our stats for here, as far as the number of services compared to the number of we won't even call them missed services because some of them are laid out, but it's always that who's who on that. We're less than 0.1%. 0.1% of misses, which is a great percent of success, 99.9. Then you have that 0.1%. But your 0.1%, a lot of times are repeats because they're difficult stops. It ain't that we're brain dead driving down the road. A lot of times they are difficult stops that when someone takes a vacation, it is in this yard behind this fence or different things where they're not normal stops. Those ones we have repeat problems with. But a lot of the ones that I know we've had repeat problems with, I've dealt with personally, and we've smoothed a lot of those out. We've had, I promised you guys whenever I was up here the time before last that, we was dealing with some personnel issues, and I feel very good about the people we got now. My yard waste guy, he was such a good guy to talk to. He had a great story, but he really did suck, and he's gone now. But we had to prove that he wasn't good. But we did that, and when we got in there now, I think it's doing a great job for y'all.
And I know the percentage is probably low. I don't know if that 0.1% exactly, because even like this thing that's sitting here that we got now, there's 19 calls on it. One is for an entire neighborhood, which is 20 or 30 houses, and it's a smaller neighborhood. It's a patio home type neighborhood. And then the other one's for the whole street. That's West Road of Power. And again, I don't know what the neighbor means by the whole street, whether it's 5 or 6 houses they saw, or they rode up and down it and realized the whole street was in it. And that's happened a couple times in there, so that, I think that number skewed a little bit as far as how many misses. But it is still probably in the, I'd say 20 to 40 a week, typically something in that, so it's still low. But as Harvey said, it's, a lot of it's the same old thing. I mean, I had a lady right behind us call me this week that has to beside the home pickup. Hers has been missed again. She probably calls every 2 months, 3 months, something like that. The lady out there, I think you've been to her house personally and picked up the yard trash bags out of Western Lane.
Western Lane, yeah.
She called again the other day, last week. And it seems to be some of the same location. I wish it could be done in one day as well. But I know when we had the multiple days, when y'all took over from Southland, and I could be wrong, but I just do not remember the amount of calls that I get from people in regards to it. And it may be that after I got some of the same calls from the same people, I got a little bit more frustrated, and maybe I remembered them more, I paid attention more or something before I didn't. But it doesn't appear to me, and I'm just one, that the one day works out. And I know on some of these reports, because I've looked on them, it's not Wednesday and Thursday, it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before they're all kind of fixed. Some even on Saturday. So we're already here, I'm gonna say 3 days, typically. So I don't know if, and I don't know if council wants to look at this more of the week and decide, or decide tonight, or whatever. But I would think if y'all think it's good, I would vote to give y'all to go ahead and do what you do. And
Yeah, this is,
if it seems like it's a problem 6 months from now, I don't say address it again, but address it again.
yeah, I think quality of service, this is by far the best way to go. Again, it really just comes down to simple pieces that you got less people involved. You got one driver for the trash. It's more of a personal thing. And it just makes sense. And we're in a position to do it. I mean, I got the trucks and the guys, so we're in a position to do this, where we really wasn't 3 months ago, but what we are now.
And I think you mentioned it would go into effect on what, September?
September 28th is what we put on there. It gives us 2 full weeks of notification for your folks.
And then the 2 weeks before that, everything would stay the same. You'd just be putting this memo in the recycling trash bin for 2 weeks.
Right, just to let everybody know. And
then that would let everybody know about the household, the yard trash, the recycling, and everything starting on September 28th.
And then at that point, if we're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if someone doesn't get it and they call in Wednesday, we're there anyway. So we can shoot across town and get them taken care of. And at that point, we can notify them, no, you did get a memo, but your day is now Tuesday or whatever that day is. So it should, I think it'd be really smooth. I think it'd be a good move.
Okay, one more question. You're saying, let's say somebody has this Friday pickup, okay? For whatever reason they don't get picked up, y'all be back out there Monday, right?
Yes.
It's still been out there 2 days.
Well, we do every Saturday. I bring one truck in on Saturday. And they come in, they check the voicemails just to see if we got any calls.
Okay.
So they can usually come and work a half day on Saturday. So if we did have something, we could take care of it on Saturday.
Okay. I just, if you guys can make this work and not financially go broken, go ahead and do it. I mean, I'll follow it, but it seemed to me it's easier to leave it at 1 day and have a truck on Thursday or something to catch up being missed. I'm looking at the list now. I mean, you only have what 20, 30 things that need to be addressed, and that certainly can be done with one truck in a half a day.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right. It just takes the.
If you're comfortable with it, what you propose to us,
Okay.
I'm comfortable with letting you go ahead and try.
Appreciate it.
that's what you want to do, but I'm just saying, it's my little mind and thinking that it's cheaper to send one truck instead of sending an army of trucks out here, you know, just, maybe I don't understand garbage.
Well, when we were multiple days before, another issue for going back to a single day was we had less trucks running through town and tearing up the drain culverts and the curbing. And that has proven to be great not to have trucks running through town. And you can't say that, well, they won't be going everywhere in town. I'm looking right here at your map in my area, and you're covering everything except one neighborhood, right in the middle. So you're gonna have to drive all the way back through that neighborhood the next, another day to get that one little neighborhood. I say a little neighborhood, it's gonna have 30, 35 houses in it. But I just think our people are, I'm looking at Wednesday, no, I'm looking at the big map. It's marked Wednesday, A, 851.
That's the recycling. Is that right, the A and B?
Yeah, the 851's recycle.
Okay.
So we're probably in part of that one A week.
Recycling,
The other one's probably B
you're
week.
gonna be tracking back over the same areas you were the week before, just to get back to a little area that could have been picked up on A.
You also have road parks on the street every day.
Every day.
Can I speak for staff too? You're gonna go from 2 days of people complaining and not to 5. And with redoing that, we will do it, but I mean, I think with ladies that are answering the phone that deal with the garbage every day.
We get fewer calls now than we got with Southland, when you guys were running 4 or 5 days a week. And
You get
still
fewer?
get more because it's still not good for the 30, 40 people that, you know, you miss. But I mean, we get fewer calls.
And I think, I think this would improve on those, whatever that number is that get missed. But it also would, let's just say, this ain't gonna happen, but if we still miss them same 30, so it'd be
Yeah.
4 calls a day or 5 calls a day instead of 30 calls in one day is what it ended up meaning. But our goal is with one guy, focused, working hand in hand with y'all, that would be just so minimal that it wouldn't be an issue.
I mean, the real goal of this exercise is for you to get everything.
It is. And you're never gonna get everything because it ain't always us. But you're gonna get some calls because someone put it out late or whatever. But,
Yeah, I understand how those,
but we'll
those things come. Sitting right behind you is Mr. Danko.
uh-huh.
And Mr. Danko, keeps us well abreast of coach work. And I know that the truck will pull up and pick up trash and go right on around and miss the whole cul-de-sac. And Mr. Danko lets us know that. And it seems to me like y'all would put that up inside the cab of that truck. Don't miss Xanar, okay? Because when you do, he's gonna let us know that, and we appreciate that. But that comes across as a complaint. But it might be 6 houses that you missed.
And I've worked a lot with Elmer, and I think we've fixed those issues we've been having.
Can I be recognized?
Yes, sir.
Overall, looking at the sanitation program, and I can only speak for my neighborhood,
Right.
but basically, the Herbie-Kirby pickup on Wednesday, the household garbage is really not a problem, getting it picked up. The every other week pickup of the recycling is not a real problem. The real problem is yard trash pickup. Now, people work to keep their yards clean, and when they work to keep the yards clean, they're generating yard trash. Yet, my question that I always have asked ever since we started to have the problem, why is it that they can pick up the 2 Herbie-Kirbys on the designated pickup day. Yet they cannot pick up the yard trash on the same day.
And it's the same, it's a special truck for that.
Well, you know, they got a special truck, but again, we've had situations where people have done a lot of trimming and have generated a lot of yard trash, so to speak, trimmings and clippings and so forth, more than what you would want the regular yard trash truck to pick up. But yet, that special truck that they have was only seen in my part of the subdivision just that one time. So my question there is, where people have a larger accumulation of limbs and so forth that meet the requirements, no longer than 4 foot, no more than 4 inches in diameter, but there's a larger accumulation because they're doing a lot of trimming. Why do we not see that so-called special truck come in and make that pickup? One situation is they picked up part of it the 1 week, and they'd never come back to pick up the other part of it. In fact, the people got so upset, the residents, that they went and got one of their neighbor's truck and loaded it up and hauled it out themselves. So my question is, why can't the sanitation people pick up the yard trash like they're supposed to on the given day, which is Wednesday? I am not in agreement with having several pickup days. I can't hear everything that's being said or what the proposal is, but I still feel that if we have, they proposed a 1-day pickup for the Herbie-Kirbies, and every other Wednesday for the other Herbie-Kirby, and every week, every Wednesday pickup for the yard trash. I'm in favor of the town working to keep that program in place, because if they have a responsibility, they agreed to pick up everything in 1 day, then why can't they stick and continue that responsibility that they have for the people? If you're going to have people moving in here 1 day and picking up some 1 day and coming in another day and picking up, you're going to have nothing but chaos and confusion. And anyhow, we neighbors, when somebody is away, going away on vacation or something, we communicate with each other, and we do move their Herbie-Kirbies and their containers and so forth off the curb as much as we can. But if you're going to have 1 day this, 1 day that, we're not going to know when we're supposed to pick up these containers or when they're supposed to be put out there. I can only say again, I'm only in agreement that we keep the Herbie-Kirby every Wednesday, the recycling Herbie-Kirby every other Wednesday, and the yard trash have to be picked up every Wednesday like it's being supposed to be done at the present time. Thank you.
On the yard trash, how many pickups do you average picking up?
It varies so much. But that is one thing that this would help adding, because we'd actually be adding about 1.5 yard waste routes through this, because and there is times of the year that we do struggle. Our guys will run until 7:30, you know, to get stuff picked up on yard waste, and that's when spring and fall, when everybody's doing all their yard work. This would give us on a regular, like right now, these routes here, Monday through Friday, would probably be done right around 1 or so on the yard trash. But on the heavy days, you'd be pushing closer to 4:30, because it's spread out more, smaller areas, and we can accommodate those peak seasons without affecting the citizens really.
Does the yard trash go in a separate truck or same truck?
Separate truck.
How many yard trash trucks do you have coming through?
Right now we have 4 over here, but on this here we'd have 1 5 days a week, so we'd be essentially adding a full route, but one of those 4 is about a half a route. So we'd be adding, it'd be a full five routes Monday through Friday. So you'd get more capacity, so we could, the peak season would be a lot easier to handle.
I want to ask something. You can probably tell we're divided, hesitant, not sure, all that good stuff. We've had two residents, I know, say no to the multiple days. But I've also had other residents tell me just the opposite, that it's time to, and just, I mean, their opinion is time to start over. I don't want to go, and I don't think that's going to resolve a whole lot. But my first question would be, if you can pick everything up in one day with minimum whatever, and even though this is only 27 and all, but I think at 27 still doesn't include some of those missed neighborhoods and all that. But if you could pick everything up satisfactory in one day, and make that satisfactory whatever you wanted to. My next question would be, why haven't we? And I know that's hard to answer, is why we haven't, but we haven't, because we still get a lot of those calls. I know I'm getting.
I get it. You and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And so, my next question would be, if we went to the multiple day, even though I know some people who are opposed to it, in my mind, somebody, wherever they live, is going to have one day to put out their trash can for garbage and yard trash. And then the Wednesday for the recyclables every other week. So there'll be 2 days they got to keep it with. One day for recycling and one day for their stuff, no matter what area of the town, once it gets worked out and the bugs worked out and everything. Based on those two scenarios, knowing what you've done in the past and what you believe you can do here, if you were voting on this, which one would you vote for?
I'd vote for the multiple, just because it takes so much out of the equation. Again, you're really reducing the number of different employees that I send to your area. And anytime, if you got a classroom of 12 kids, it's a lot harder to keep them straight than it is one kid. So I think it's just a better, for you all, I think it's a better fit. There could be more of a personal commitment, between that, because that's our service. I'm not our service. I can get it picked back up, but that guy is holding that wheel and taking care of you guys' trash all day. That's who provides good service or poor service. And I think greatly reducing the number of different employees is the benefit. That's the true benefit.
And if we vote to switch, is there a time frame such as 6 months down the road that if things are not whatever, then we would reconsider? Or
Yeah,
do you
that's
think
fine.
within 2 months
No.
of, I'll say confusion, but 2 months of getting it straight, do you think we ought to be kind of on the roll after 1 month or 2 months? Or?
I think after the first month, it should be smooth. I think it'd be fairly, because it's small enough areas that it's going to be fairly smooth anyway. But there's going to be some lag on a few people. But I don't, we're here for you all. We're here for, the town of Irmo. 6 months from now, a year from now, y'all decide you want something different. We're going to do the best we can to help you. So that's no big deal. I don't think you will. I think you'll like this.
So with a multiple day pickup, you guarantee to pick up everybody's trash. If not, we penalize you $1,000 a week for missing one.
Yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that. Yeah, we can't do that.
That's the commitment I was talking
That's a great.
Well,
Be backed up on 100.
I'd like to buy. I'd want to buy stock on that if we can. But
One day pickup, I'm sure you'll miss.
But the best thing to do on a serious note on what you guys are saying, when it comes back around and we get ready to renegotiate or extend, that's a great addendum that we could do. Not we would never agree to that number, but there's numbers out there. If it's $20, $25, whatever it is. But you got to remember, if when it comes down to it on trash, I think we're getting paid. Breaks down $4 a month for the trash and so much for the recycle, so much for yard trash. So if it's a $40 fine, it means we miss one stop, or you're getting fined 10 months for that one stop. So we have to make it so it's feasible, and so we can keep you guys a great rate. Right now you guys got a great rate, and part of that great rate, You know, we got different places that have different fines, but I guarantee you, when we set that rate, we factor that fine in that rate. So, and you guys have a great rate. You have the best rate that we have anywhere in this market. And, you know, that would,
Well,
we'd have to negotiate that at that point.
sure, with this staff downtown, and that's, you know, Kim's salary, and everybody's salary downtown for dealing with garbage, it is a factor, so.
Yeah, and right now you're looking at, well, on that one there was 27 calls for the week. So if this here cuts it in half, which I think we'll do better than that. If it cuts it in half, you're looking at 1 or 2, you know, 2 calls a day, which is not a lot of staff time.
And when you're talking about the rate, I've heard in the past, and I know Southland kind of did it, you know, bought them, but I'd always heard one of the reasons we get a better rate than city counties because we're condensed into a kind of a smaller area as opposed to the county being a little bit more. Is that
Just because we like you better. We just like you all better. That's all it is. No, it is. Density plays a big part. What also plays a big part is how much we can do automated here. And we do all the trash pretty much automated here, which helps a bunch. Other areas, it's not set up to do automated, so it slows us down.
and that recyclable content that doesn't go into the landfill, doesn't that kind of help too, the more that's recycled and the less you dump, the less tipping fees, so that kind of helps too, I guess?
It does, you know, there is there was, now there's not because commodity prices are so low. There was some money there on that side too, but commodity prices are really bad now. But yeah, that's something like I said. I don't know, we're 2017, I think, is when we can talk about an extension, and that'd be a great time for an addendum if we want to look at something.
Any more questions? All righty, well, we are at the point where we can make a motion for approval, get a second and discussion vote, or you make a motion and it gets a motion and no second, or a motion or whatever.
Make a motion that we approve the schedule.
All right.
I second,
Adopt the new schedule, sorry.
I second the adoption.
Okay, so we have an approval and a second, any discussion? Which we kind of have, but any questions?
I'll be for still one-day pickup because of the impact of town, the garbage cans on the streets, and all these phone calls to town hall, more aggravation for them, and confusion with citizens. So one day still makes sense. I'd like to see an improvement.
I agree with you, but if they think this will solve more of our problems,
Well, it's just a speculation, you know.
that's right, yeah.
There's nothing proven, so it's too risky.
And it's just a speculation, we're doing it one day a week.
Go back.
Or 1 day a week was not
Yeah,
proposed.
it just doesn't work. We'll go back.
Yeah, but, I mean, they went from multiple to one, it's, I don't know, there's no more than a speculation, that's gonna get better either. Any more discussion? All in favor then of the approval to adopt the new schedule, do so with your hand. All opposed? Next item is an approval of contract with RJ Beam Construction in the amount of $76,400 to build his restroom and the community park. Is there a motion for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? How about you?
I passed out the bid tab so you can see what everybody bid on this project.
I know there are people in the audience that don't want us to do this, don't want us to spend any more money. And I understand that, and I don't really like spending money. However, I think this is for public use, and the public is using the heck out of it, and I'm glad they are, and I think it's worthwhile. The new picnic area needs a bathroom, because at my age, and the age of some of the other people out there, by the time we hike across there, it's too late. So, you know,
You're not gonna make
you're
it.
not gonna make it, so we need something
Well,
closer.
there is a bunch of woods right behind there.
I'm
But
sure
there is an
that
ordinance
too.
in town. that
Oh,
we
yeah,
have.
there is. I forgot about that
Plus,
one.
this is right behind the amphitheater, and, you know, it's closer to that too. So
Where's this bathroom going? I thought it was over like picnic shelter.
It's gonna be next to the picnic shelter.
Back to the left of there,
to
yeah.
the right,
The new
right?
picnic shelter.
No,
Right next to the new
When
picnic
you-
shelter by the new parking lot.
That's where I mean, it's
Oh,
behind
okay.
the amphitheater.
behind the seating area. now,
Yes,
too, yeah.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
not behind the stadium.
Okay.
But it's all the way across the park from the one we got now. And I think it's important. And I hate to spend the money.
There you go.
I think it's necessary. I like this, but we're not gonna spend any more, George.
I'll remember that.
Oh, go ahead.
I second it. And I know George and I argue about this all the time, and, but I do go to the park 2 to 3 times a week with my grandchildren, and, I try to make it my point while watching them to talk to the other people that are there, and that's one of the constant, concerns, I won't say complaints, because everybody's so proud of the park and enjoy the park so much. But one of their concerns is restroom facilities up that way, as we've put in the second, by demand, the second playground area. And we put in the second picnic shelter area because people couldn't, they were booking the picnic shelter, there was waiting lists for people that wanted to use it. So we put in a second one, and now you've got one totally at the other end of the 14-acre park with no restroom facilities, and the other one all the way at the other end that does have restroom facilities. So I think that it is needed. In our initial planning for the park, that was one of the things that we talked about, was multiple restrooms, but we left that out in the initial, saying we could come back and add that later as money was available. Again, not wanting to encumber the town with any bonds or borrowed money there, and I think that we have been good stewards of the money and not having to do that. We do have, I realize the garbage service is it's a fee, but a fee that you have no choice of. I yield to you, it's like a tax. But there is no millage for the town. And we did away with that in 2005, and I think we're all very proud of that we've been able to maintain that, and through the very conservative nature of town hall and the council, we've been able to have a surplus. And we've been able to garner some grant money for that, park, and we're getting money in that has to be used for those type things. We just got another grant in. We get the alcohol funds in, and it's for tourism. You can't be any better than on tourism than we are, because we're on TripAdvisor.
Yeah, that's right.
The park is advertised on TripAdvisor as a 5-star.
The other thing we didn't know is how popular it was gonna be.
No, the naysayers that were out there, you know, were all saying it would never be used, it would just become overgrown, it would never be used. The first thing we had to do was create more parking,
Yeah.
and now, at least the children don't have to wait in line to swing or to slide down the sliding board. There's more of that.
We'll go to the restroom.
They do have to wait for the restroom. And, you know, you hear the moms there, okay, you've got another 30 minutes and then we've got to go to the restroom and get ready to go. So but they've got, if they're on one end of the park, they gotta go all the way to the other. I think it is needed, and from the large numbers of people that discuss that with me when I'm there, I feel like it's answering the call to our citizens.
Yeah, nothing's worse than going to a nice park and have a dirty bathroom. And I think we provide great facilities for our park. And I've been there before where I had to wait in line, so it's.
For the restroom, you mean?
Yes, it is.
They do a wonderful job of cleaning it.
They do.
That's on TripAdvisor too. It's the cleanest
Yes.
bathrooms in the Midlands.
Oh, wow.
That's
It's
nice.
on
So
Trevor.
It's on TripAdvisor.
instead of stopping at some other place, I just go there and I could change it on the ground. Maybe I could send somebody over to my shop. That one.
What's the availability of the picnic area in the first one we did? Do they have any availability for that?
I don't know off the top of
You
my
know
head.
off the top of
I
your
know people
head?
booked.
It's usually pretty booked.
Yep.
What about the second one? Just look-
What about the second one?
Oh, yeah, they stay,
We
all,
started
both of
booking,
them.
Both of them?
Yep. And we
And
still
how much
book-
are they?
We still book the gazebo over here, so I mean, they stay.
Just when you think, well, there won't be anybody in this park, I saw a wedding and a bridal portrait sitting
Mhm.
all last weekend.
Over this one?
Over at this one, yeah. So
And these are in-town residents or people out of town or
There's
just
a
mixed
lot,
up?
We get
all,
both.
I mean, they're all,
On both sides? Well, if I'm guilty of spending $2 million for a facility like this, then I'm guilty as charged. I'll take the rap, okay?
he's taking the.
I don't mind saying that there's not a day go by that I don't hear positive things about our park, our community park. In fact, I hear a lot of things about the regular park over here. People who want to get married, and they say, well, Barry, can't you help me out? Can't you do something? I said, nope, you gotta get in line with everybody else. I mean, it's that busy. We probably need to raise our fees and make some money off of this, you know, if you really want to get technical about it. But the fact that we still did this, we accomplished this $2 million venture with no millage rate to the town of Irmo is remarkable. You know, and if you don't think that it is remarkable, move to the city of Columbia, see what they do, okay? So,
And how much do we rent those for?
I'm willing to give Whit plenty of credit.
plenty, a lot.
Absolutely.
Because they both look wonderful.
Or like 100 or
I
something?
want to say it's like 150.
When brides want to have their picture made there,
I want to say it's
that's
like 100.
the highest compliment.
Strong.
It is.
Not much, the stage is like 1,500. But not the big rush hour.
Okay, let's vote.
I wanted to say something just for George a minute. I had voted for some things, and I can't remember what anymore. And I had voted against some things, and I can't remember what anymore. I think I did vote for the picnic shelter, but I'm not 100% sure. But if we have a picnic shelter, then we have to provide, in my mind, a restroom. I know we got one, I know it's there, but it's still probably far away. So even though I'm not a drunken sailor, I will vote for this just because I think the people do need it, and the kids and the wives and mamas and those kind of people that probably can't hold it as long as. So I know my wife said that, they're probably wondering what I'm gonna do. That must be why she showed up tonight. I've been trying to figure it out now, I know. All right, any more questions? Or any more discussion? All in favor then of approval of the contract with RJ Dean Construction in the amount of $76,400 for the restrooms, do so with show of hands. All opposed? Next item is the approval of the contract with Lucas Septic Tank and Utilities in the amount of $7,950 to install the septic tank for the new bathroom, which really is needed if we got bathroom. So is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
It's cheaper than running pipes for the city of Columbia to overcharge us with.
Yeah, and the land did perk, so it's,
That-
yeah,
yeah,
it
good
should go
check.
that way. And just the other. Any more discussion? All in favor then of the contract with Lucas Septic Tank in the amount of $7,950 for the septic tank, and I guess it includes the lines and the whole shebang and all that good stuff, hooking it all up and everything. Do so with show of hands. All opposed? Next item is an approval to eliminate discussions from the town of Irmo. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think we discussed enough on motions and on action on it. And I think if we need more discussion than that, and we don't know how to, if we're not at the point yet where we need a motion, then I think that's a work session. And that's what everybody else does. Now, I know 6:30, if we had a work session at 6:30, it might be inconvenient for you, Paul. The rest of us don't do anything, so we can be here. We could certainly take that into consideration, but I think that is a more economical use of their time and our time. I think a work session from 6:30 to 7, and we can air out whatever's not on the agenda to be voted on, and then when the meeting starts, we vote. That's my opinion. I don't like discussing things ad infinitum, but I think if we limit it and call it a work session and have it before the meeting, if someone's interested, they'll be here. If they're not, they'll be at the meeting. That's just what I think.
Well, I second it, so I agree with you. I think that the lengthy meetings, they're not good for the council, number one, but more especially, they're not good for the citizenry that gives their time to come out here and have something they wish to speak on. If it's on the agenda, they have an opportunity. If you remember, we did modify our agenda a couple of years ago to give them a chance to speak on something before we voted on it. But still the majority of discussions from the citizenry about the issues in town that they want to discuss comes at the end of the meeting, and they have to wait here 3 hours or so while something gets batted around up here. I would like to see us have a work session. It could be called. If there are some issues that need to do, any member can put something on the agenda, so any member should be able to call for a work session. If you have an interest there or an opinion, you'll be here. If not, you can discuss it with another council member and make your wishes and desires known. But if all of that fails, if it's an action item on the agenda, when it comes up for a vote, we can always defer it. If there's still enough indecision there, it can be deferred. But that would shorten up the agenda to the point that we don't run into 9, 10 o'clock. I remember the days when we had 11 o'clock meetings here at night, and that's totally ridiculous. You didn't get anything really accomplished.
And it was hard on them to sit there, I can't.
I know that I have raised the issue before about having committees. We used to have those, and that alleviated a lot of that problem. I know, Mr. Mayor, you don't particularly want that. And if that was the decision that council made, is we wouldn't go to committees, and when that was voted not to do that, I'm totally fine with that. But I think that having 3-hour meetings just to go round and round and round about something, this is not healthy.
In view of what you found, Bob, that says we voted not to do this a while back, should we vote on this?
Well, we didn't really vote not to do discussions. We voted not to place discussions on the agenda as a line item, like we're doing for amendments to the agenda. Like you have all these
So we do
other
need to
little
vote on
things.
it.
I mean, if you're approving it now by a majority, then I will accept the discussion. If put on the agenda.
Yeah, we approved it, and we wouldn't have, but now that does not,
No, I'm not.
someone from putting a discussion on the agenda, even if we unapprove it or disapprove it. Because of Robert's Rules of Order, there are ways that people could. But I'm just saying, if somebody read Robert's Rules of Order, they could figure out how to do it. And you also open up the door too for receipt communications where everything gets loaded up under there. Receipt communications is actually not an open discussion time, it's where you or a council member, somebody has some kind of communication, whether it be an email or a letter or a phone call or something, where they think everybody else needs to know it, and they want to share it with everybody so that everybody knows it. That's kind of what that is, just a sharing time, not an open debate. We use a little bit different sometimes for other stuff, to invite people, like whatever, to come and speak at that time. But we also use it, I think, sometimes for other stuff. I don't care when we had up. I mean, I think years ago I tried to get them off there and we didn't want to, and then I thought, well, let's put them on there in a line item, and then we can put guidelines on it as to how many, how long, how often, how this. And we didn't. If we have the work session, that's fine too. The only thing is we have no guidelines on work session. If somebody says, I want a work session to discuss something, and they say do it at 6:30, then we gotta have staff there. And nobody else shows up, then we wasted staff time getting here at 6:30 instead of 7. So well, I don't know. I mean, depends on what it would be and who it would be and all like that, maybe not.
If we set that as a policy though,
Well, you'd have to, that's the thing, we haven't got it now. but
we've
you'd
got
have
it,
to.
yeah.
And like Lexington, for instance, and some of the other municipalities, they do have, but they have like the first, whatever day that they meet is a work session. And they pretty much discuss everything there, and then they decide what's going on the agenda. And then the next meeting, they put it on the agenda and discuss it. But they don't have a work session just for discussions and then a meeting. They have a work session to kind of decide what goes, and they vote on what they put on the agenda, and then they
We
put
may
it on.
not need this, but once a month, once every couple of months, I don't know, but I just think there should be nothing on here except what we're gonna vote on.
And that's true.
And everybody gets to speak on it.
Yeah, we discuss it.
Yeah. And I think the only other thing about, like we mentioned on the committees, and the only reason I was opposed to that is the fact that if we had 4 committees, you can't say one starts at 6 and one starts at 6:15 and one 6:30, and then this one don't start, and then you speed the other one up because you told the public that time, so you have to spend an hour, maybe you have something, maybe you don't, people show up, and if you only have 2 people on the committee, and one doesn't show up, then to me it was kind of, and that's one thing I liked about the discussions is that was a time for us to discuss that stuff that we would be doing as a committee as a whole, is to get that stuff out instead of doing it on an iPad or email, and it's a little bit more open. But it does, if you don't abide by simple little, we call it etiquette, that just says, okay, put it on there for 2 or 3 minutes and then move on. I can normally figure out when something's being discussed within a couple of minutes, whether everybody's for it or not. And, you know, this is not worth the time or this is worth the time. But I would like shorter meetings as well. Any other discussion? We ready to vote? Do you want?
I'm not exactly understanding the difference between discussions outside on the agenda and discussions after we second something. You don't want us to talk forever when we second it?
No.
That's okay.
If it's, yeah, if it's an action item, we discuss it all more.
So if I want to discuss something, just put it on as an action item, and then it's second, we discuss it. So what have you accomplished?
There won't be any more discussion of whatever, something we can't vote on.
Well, if it has an approval,
So I mean,
and you word it,
give me an example of what I had on there.
I don't know, something that.
yeah, you can call for it.
Like we discussed the Brown situation
If you can,
with the streets. That was one we discussed it.
We
in the
probably
next-
do that at 6:30.
Okay, so if I wanted to have it on the agenda as an action item to vote on opposite Mr. Brown, then we still have the discussion that we had.
No,
But it
then
would come up for a vote if
then
it
it would
had been
come- yeah, then
voted
we
up
just-
or voted down.
Correct.
Or if it was just a discussion, and if it were just a discussion, then we could have sat here for 3 hours discussing it. And then it would have been impossible to vote on it because it wouldn't be an action item on the agenda. So we would have just wasted that amount of time.
So my point is that if I wanted to discuss something, put it on as an action item to
That's right.
vote
Get a
on.
second? Yeah.
We're still gonna discuss.
Yeah. And then, like you're alluding to, a discussion item, there's no way to stop it. Because there's no guidelines, there's no way, unless you put guidelines like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Everybody-
And it depends on how you read Robert's rules. Robert's rules doesn't allow for discussion.
Well,
It just is
just
an
like
action
he's
item.
saying, if you put it under an action item, get a motion and a second, and anybody can talk to somebody and get a second.
Speak to the point, but
And then you do that, and then all you gotta do is table it. And you don't even vote, you just move on, and then it comes back up again, and you kind of do the whole same time.
This would be more like a policy of what we'll do. And I think it would work.
I don't think we have, well,
We just spent 10 minutes on the subject.
exactly.
It's better than 3 hours.
I know. That's
So
what I'm
I-
saying.
But it's better in the public than even.
So
too,
there is
so
no
there's a
reason
good
to
thing for
believe
that.
we're not gonna
Probably go
discuss
on
it.
and on, so. let's-
You have 5 politicians up here. We're gonna discuss it.
Sure.
I know,
But-
so, you know.
it's listed tonight as an action item, so I call the question.
All right. I second that.
So, all,
Talk.
yeah, I'm lost, I'm thinking. All in favor of the question being called? Is that right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay. So there's 2, who voted for it?
Well,
Okay.
Barry,
Let
you
me make a
voted
note
for
here.
it? Okay,
Barry voted for it.
okay.
I kicked him under the table.
And who called the question, Harvey?
Mark,
Yes.
Kathy second.
All right. So, all in favor of approval to eliminate discussion from town council agenda, do so, show of hands. All opposed?
It's too good to be true.
Approval to reinstate amendments to the agenda. Is there a motion for approval? Second.
Second.
Okay, before you give me your spiel, don't we have rules about this? Are there certain things
Yeah.
we can't?
But the rules say that you gotta follow the rules, and one of the rules is that when you go through that criteria of amending the agenda,
It can't be,
But we took it off because the courts ruled that
that's right.
it couldn't be there, and now the courts have been overruled.
So it can't.
and
And
then the
said
state
that
came in and made the new guidelines that we will abide by once they are ruled. But basically what it says is when the item that's going to be amended requires a vote of council to be taken at the meeting, will that item? And if the answer is no, then you follow your public adopted rules, which if we don't have any, or if it's not on the agenda, even if it didn't meet this, we still couldn't, because we don't have it on our agenda. So it needs to be on our agenda, so that when we don't pass this first test, then we go to whatever our rules say.
Okay, got it. Go ahead, Barry.
That's it?
And then if it, when it says, will the item require a vote of council be taken at the meeting? If it's yes, then the next is the final vote, is this the final vote on the item? If it is, then it requires a 2/3 vote of members present and a finding of emergency or exigent circumstances. So you have to go through and determine, is this something that can be delayed or not? If it can't be like an emergency, then you can vote. And if it's got a public comment period, you gotta abide by that. If it doesn't, all that kind of stuff. But if it fails that first question, which is will the item require a vote of council? If it doesn't require a vote of council, then you just go to what your amendment rules say. So we also need particular states, whatever those old rules were.
Well, it's never been taken out of our town code,
So the rules are in there, we just gotta put it back in.
we just put it back in.
And whatever those rules are that we got on the agenda now, or in the ordinance now, is what we're taking credit.
Okay.
Any questions? All in favor of approval to reinstate the amendments to the agenda, do so with show of hand. And so that can be on the next agenda as far as the line item. And I don't know where it was,
It's like the third item.
Yeah, third or fourth.
so it would be like, under invocation before reading the minutes or something like that area?
If
Okay.
anybody has any amendments, that's it.
So that would be the time to do it?
Right.
Okay. Now,
State law allows you to put it anywhere. Somebody makes a motion, even down here in new business, you can make a motion to.
but if they don't do it at that time, is that saying we can't do it later? So it has to be done then? Not at a later part of the meeting, just right then?
Not the way the Supreme Court ruled.
So you can do it anytime in the meeting?
Right, but we need to have it,
Well,
a place on there where everybody can.
I think it says in here, you have to read that and figure it out, 'cause it basically says you gotta do it,
Predetermined location on the
well,
agenda.
I mean, up here it says you gotta do it basically, I don't say prior to the meeting starting or something like it, but you do it.
That's why it's a.
Right. So, but if you don't do it then, you could do it at a later time.
Well,
That's my question.
That's
You could take any item on the agenda out of order.
Okay. No, that's my, I didn't see that.
I mean,
Read
there
that part
should be no
there,
reason
figure it
to
out.
get into the meeting to make an amendment.
There shouldn't be,
There
yeah,
should no-
unless you just happen to think of something, right? I don't know what that would be. All right, next item then is the approval to close roads for the orchestra main site and parade. Which road are we talking about, St. Andrews?
Andrews for the parade.
Sanders for the parade from Doe Trail to South Carolina 60. Lexington Avenue from 60 to Gibbs. Gibbs in front of the school. Mosley from Carlisle to Church Street. Church Street from SE 60 to Eastview. Eastview from Battery to SE 60.
I gave up right now again, but it's like 5.
We can give you a list. if
That's fine.
you would like it.
But everybody
It's the same
understand
roads
which
we
one?
did last
Yeah,
year.
we've already
Yeah.
requested that.
We have to do it here first.
Oh, I got it, okay.
So it's about 5 streets.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions?
These closures are in line with what we did last year as far as the spread is concerned. I just want to mention that, this is for the public really, the strut is on target to go on the 25th of September this year. We have a great lineup of musicians, and Elmer, hopefully they won't rattle your cages at night when the band plays, but again, we have meters now to be concerned about that. More importantly, I'm proud about the fact that, the sheriff has basically dismissed the criminal investigation, finding that, we had no mischievous wrongdoings in the orchestra committee. All the innuendos and stuff that was thrown out there about how we misappropriated money and stuff like that has been essentially wiped it clean, and we can now go forward, hopefully, and raise money and get more volunteers and more sponsors to contribute to our festival like they've done in the past. I want to thank the committee, the orchestra committee, Kirk Luther, chairman, for the hard work you guys have done and the stress that you guys have been under this year to put the festival on, and appreciate it. And please tell the committee members that we really appreciate all the efforts, and hopefully that, we'll be able to, continue to grow our festival and have it at this new location in Community Park.
Since you're gonna comment on that, I will too. The investigation was never about criminal intent. The investigation was about a report on tickets that didn't match up to cash receipts, which left about $13,000 in question. You got the email, everybody else,
$13,000?
$13,964 according to that email. You
Well,
got it.
according to the report, it was $9,000 short. So
According to, no, it's not 9,000 short, let me finish, I'll let you, there was about 13,964 that was not accounted for on those reports that were turned into it. After they counted all the tickets, there was 179,000, whatever it was, 750 tickets in the bags, not 204, which means we overpaid the vendors 9,000, or actually, if you do the real math, it's something different now. And that's what they said is why there's not $13,964 not accounted for in that report. It's the 12,000 in the tickets that are missing. So that cleared up that. But there is still, according to that, between $9,000 and $12,000 that was overpaid to the vendors. You can add all that math up and you'll get the same question why they don't add up. And based on the other report that was turned in to the town, I think there was 167,000 tickets sold at the ticket booth, and there's 179 on that report. So there's still 12,000 more in the bags than it was sold. And there's really no good answer for that. So all I know is we overpaid vendors somewhere between 10,000 and 12, and there's somewhere between 3,000 and 12,000 tickets more in the bags, comp tickets, or wherever you want to call them, wherever they came from, who knows?
Well, then I want to say something too. I think the worst thing that could have happened is some type of criminal whatever. And I never thought there was. And I don't think anybody up here did. And I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad there is nothing criminal or nothing felonious, whatever word you'd like to use. And I hope the commission knows, and I know Kirk does, but especially people like Ms. Butler and Heather Hardy, and the women who work so well together. We can't thank them enough. And they went through a tough time this year, and they handled it beautifully.
And there's that first email that went out, November the 24th, or whatever it was. It went to council, it went to Bob, it went to our town attorney, I think it went to the administrator and the chairman. If we had 3 people that said they wanted to look at it, and everybody was consulted, if we had 3 people that wanted to look at it, it could have been done through a CPA firm and all like that much quicker, probably too. So we could have handled it, we could have looked at it, we could have joined in and said, yeah, let's look at it. But we didn't, so we went the way we did.
Well, last time I checked, the sheriff department investigates criminal activity. He doesn't do CPA work, and you essentially had him doing that, so that's fine. And because of that stress you put on the committee,
I don't
they
think
had
there's
to
any
put
stress on
stress.
anybody. It
Well,
might
sure
be
you
stress
did. Well, I
on-
didn't interrupt you now, so now you're going to interrupt me. The stress you had put on the committee, the stress you, by the innuendos that there was some criminal wrongdoing, that somebody stole thousands of dollars, you keep coming with these vaporware numbers, that there's $14,000 missing and there's $50,000 overspent. I mean, all these things have been documented that was not there. It's not true. And the stress you put on the volunteers, the people that volunteer to put on overstress is certainly unwarranted, but that's fine. It's all over with. The sheriff said there's no criminal wrongdoing. We accept that response. We accept that answer. It could have been solved. It could have been over with in December when you got the preliminary report that you never released. You could have had that information released and we could have went on, but you didn't do it. So that's fine. I'm glad to say that we got the report as of last week. The sheriff has basically said there's no criminal wrongdoing. You know, we got the ticket count tally from the sheriff too, and it says that there was, $9,000 that was overpaid due to the fault of the scales, and we addressed that back in November when we said, okay, there was a problem with scales, and we got the scale problem fixed. So I'm happy. I'm happy we were able to go forward. And again, I want to make sure that the committee knows that this council appreciates their hard work, and we want to make sure that they know that there was, that we're behind 100%, and we hope to put the orchestra on and have it to be a successful event like it was last year and grow even more next year.
And again, just to reiterate, if you didn't want to have all that stress, you could have signed off on the thing and said, yes, let's investigate it, let's look at it, let's get to the bottom of it.
Well, if you didn't allow that stress, you wouldn't accuse people of stealing
I didn't
money.
accuse anybody. What the email said was, it has $102,000 worth of tickets sold. We accounted for 88,000 and we didn't account for the difference, and I asked for that accounting. You could have responded, anybody could have responded, they could have cleared it up if they wanted to, but nobody did. And based on that, I felt like taxpayers ought to be knowing where their money got. We had 13,964 unaccounted for, based on the paperwork turned into the account. And you can say all you want to about the legal criminal thing, but I think what I'm reading here when I read it, pretty much says, as a result of our investigation, it is clear the overstruck lost money due to sloppy management, bookkeeping, accounting errors, failure to maintain, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that that's a great hurrah in my mind, but anyway, I don't know. But I agree, we need to move on, and that's what we should do.
Sheriff took 8 months to tell us you don't know how to count tickets. Okay, great.
Yeah.
We knew that in November.
Can I call a question?
Yeah.
Well, that discussion wasn't on.
I know they
We
just
have no-
voted for
Yeah,
it.
this was,
We have
well,
no
it was
motion
under
to
approval
go
for that, and somebody brought up something that had to do with nothing
But I
for
want
this,
everyone
so.
to know, the first band, Friday night, is the South Carolina Philharmonic. Now, we can't do much better than that. I think we've done pretty good there. And they want people from the audience to come direct it. And I think this is delightful. Of all the things we've done, I think this is the most ingenious and culture-fied activity that we've come up with. I think it's wonderful. So, thank you, Kirby.
So, any more or any discussion on closing the 5 roads?
Well, first of all, we never had a motion nor a
Yep, I
second.
think, maybe
No,
I'm looking at the wrong line. Okay, is there a motion then to approve these 5 roads being closed?
So moved. Second.
So you'll know,
Whatever.
Kathy, and Harvey.
that's fine.
Right now, any discussion on these roads?
I think we should close it.
Chief, that's what you say you need, right?
Correct.
Give the chief what he needs.
All in favor then of closing these 5 roads, do so with show of hands. The next item is presentation by citizens. This is where anyone who wants to address council on any item, whether it's on the agenda or not, may do so at this time. All we ask is you give us your name and address for the record.
I'm Elmer Danko from 500 Finsbury Road. Your Honor, I would just like for you or a member of council, since you approved the adoption of a new sanitation schedule, could you just in a few brief words share with us basically what that new sanitation schedule is? I know we will read it in the Irmo paper, but I think for us that are here tonight, it would be worthy for us to know what the new schedule is. Thank you.
And I'm not going to get into all the streets on each thing, but there is 5 days a week that the household trash and the yard trash will be picked up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That'll be the 5 days for that. And then on Wednesday of every week, they'll still be picking up household in some area on Wednesday and yard trash. But then on Wednesday,
You're on Wednesday, Ellen.
is he on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. And then on Wednesday of 1 week, there will be what's called A. And it looks like there is, here.
For recycling.
Yeah, for recycling on Wednesdays, it looks like there's a Wednesday A, a Wednesday B, and then a Wednesday B and a Wednesday A. So there's 2, the count divided in 2. On one Wednesday, they'll pick up this area, and on the next Wednesday, they'll pick up the next area. And then on the following Wednesday, they'll pick up the area A, and on the following Wednesday, they'll pick up B. And the 2 weeks before September the 28th, they will be putting that schedule in your green recyclable thing, so that everybody will have that by the September the 28th, correct? That's clear. Is that clear?
If you
ask one question. Do the members of council feel that this program is going to be successful?
Well, personally, I feel if he is happy and satisfied, then that gives me a lot of satisfaction. Because I wasn't satisfied before, but if he's happy and he thinks he can do it, then I'm willing to work with him and give him a try to make it better and make it better.
You know, when they went to the one-day pickup for all 3 items, they said that it could be done in 1 day.
Yeah,
And it didn't get done in 1 day.
no,
That's right.
and that's kind of why we're here, because it really is. And hopefully it will be, and if it isn't, we'll be back here again. But I think you said a month to get it all really working good, and then
Yes.
hopefully by November then, Thanksgiving, it ought to be running smooth.
Hopefully, if the program works, then our so-called garbage lady at Town Hall should not be receiving very many phone calls.
Yeah, he said it should cut down, I think if I got the numbers right, 1 a day, roughly 1 or 2 days.
2 a day.
Yeah, so that should, hopefully, yeah.
We have a dude lady answering the phone.
Right.
She may quit tomorrow.
But what do I-
She doesn't know tomorrow.
Anyone else who'd like to address council?
Mr. Mayor, council, and folks that are here. I live at 148 Stone Column Way in the Ridgemont subdivision. And I've lived there for approximately 15 months.
Give your name first. Give her your name too.
Lee Sitnick, S-I-T-N-I-K. And I have talked to some folks at the town hall and also in Lexington County regarding this. Some people call it a detention pond, some people call it a retention pond. But it is a huge area adjacent to my property. And over the course of the 14 months, I have seen some children cutting across my yard. And this particular area that has a giant cauldron at the base of this thing to collect excessive water and so forth is not fenced in. Several months ago, there was a bulldozer that came by and a company that removed all of the vegetation down to the ground and so forth. That vegetation is now growing back up. There is still no fence, and it poses a tremendous safety hazard for anybody who potentially could fall down and get punctured by the saplings that are cut off and so forth. And I have talked to Lexington County, as I mentioned, and the last communication that I received from Sherry Armstrong is that it is really up to the town of Irmo to determine what action can be taken to, once and for all, put a fence around that retention pond. That particular development has 39 homes in it, and the development was began 9 years ago, and still there's no fence around this retention pond. And I just want to plead my case and hope that someday soon there will be a fence around this retention pond that is definitely needed because of safety reasons. Thank you.
What's your address, sir?
148
Okay.
Stone Column Way.
Okay.
And that is one of the items that I think you said we had an executive session tonight, so
I
we'll.
talked to Sherry this morning, and we finally got the figures, so we got to talk about the contractual stuff.
Okay.
Make a decision.
So after we're through, we may be able to let you know something, may not, maybe, but we'll get out of there. Anyone else?
George Glassmeyer, 100 Denbeck Road. I want to commend the 2 council people that voted no to change the garbage schedule from 1 day to multiple days. And I feel that the 3 of you that voted for it is going to come back to haunt you. And I don't think you appreciate the burden that you've placed on the staff members in town hall, because not only now are they going to have, now they're going to be fielding calls from residents all over town. What's my garbage day? What's my day for pickup, for recyclables, for yard trash, et cetera, the learning curve on that is going to be long, a long road to get everybody up to speed. And then, God forbid, it doesn't work, then they've got to reteach them back to the one-day method. The benefit that the vendor argued, well, if he's got an employee, the same guy coming every day, I'm going to bet that he's got some pretty steep turnover in that company. So I don't know how valuable that's going to be to have the same guy, because it might be the same guy for 2 or 3 weeks maybe. And there's another dynamic to this that you didn't consider is by, and I know it's a done deal now, but I think it's going to come back to haunt you, and I want to go on record as this, for this. Another dynamic that you didn't consider about this is by having it on Wednesday only, we dodge the issue of holiday problems. Because first of all, by having it on Wednesday, Thanksgiving doesn't become a problem, and the Monday holidays aren't a problem because we've still been able to stay on Wednesday, and the people that were on Monday elsewhere in the area that the vendor served had to deal with that, but we didn't. But now that you're on 5 days, you're going to have to deal with every holiday is going to be an issue to further complicate the whole dynamic. So I think you made an egregious error here, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to come back to haunt you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay, Robin Barker with 130 Hexham Circle. I just wanted to thank you for the restrooms, the park. Sorry, I'll bring the park back up again. I use the park, my children use the park, so I just want to thank you for the restrooms and thank the committee and the Arbor Day committee. You know, it truly provides a great place for our children to play, and it really has helped Old Friars Gate and the Irmo in general, I think. So thanks again, and thanks, Whit, for all you've done as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Dean?
My name is Mark Pouliot, and I live at 31 Castlevale Court. I wanted to address the problems with the okra strut that you've had last year. As far as I know, there was council members here that were involved in counting tickets. There was council members here that were vendors at the strut. You're putting yourselves in harm's way when it comes to having a festival concerning this amount of money. The problems that you had is exactly the reason why you shouldn't have been involved. I don't understand how you could get involved to make a couple bucks, yet you put the town at risk. To me, it's ridiculous. Recuse yourself from being involved in these things. I'd also like to ask, can you inform us what's going on with the lawsuit at the park?
I mean, we really can't, because that's in a lawsuit, and I'm guessing our
It's handled by our insurance
municipal
attorney.
insurance will kind of handle all that. And they hire their own attorney, and they kind of do the whole thing.
Did we reach out to the family to discuss the incident? And was there anything done to try and remedy this problem?
We're here to hear your comment. We're
Yeah,
not gonna
I
debate
can't,
you.
I don't want to respond
We're
to
just hearing
that.
your comments now.
But yes, there was.
There was. Okay.
We had an event for them, when the plaque was, yes, there was, but we probably can't say anymore.
No,
We had an event.
you told me not to say anything.
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything, all right, excuse me.
All right, all right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Being good too.
Seeing none. Next item is executive session. It's my understanding we need one for
Contractual dealing with written law.
Okay, good.
So is there a motion for a executive session to deal with a contractual matter, regarding the detention pond or regarding Ridgemont altogether, really?
Courtyards at Ridgemont.
Courtyards at
Both
Ridgemont.
subdivisions.
Courtyards at Ridgemont. Nobody ever wants to read this. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will go into executive session, we will come out to adjourn, and we will not be voting, we will be giving advice, and then I may be able to let you know when I come out, depending on whatever. We are back in from executive discussion. We had a discussion on contractual matters at Courtyards in Ridgemont, in regards to some items that need to be finished out there before the county would take over. We don't know everything that's going to happen and all that, but we are, and we had decided before that we would put up a fence contingent upon some stuff with the county, and we're not sure about that, but we're going to go ahead and put up a fence anyway. So we've got some bids, and I guess whenever they can contact them and let them, then that guy will be out there putting up the fence. And then we'll be working with the county to address the other issues. But the fence will go up.
Jerry Armstrong told me that isn't their responsibility.
Yeah, it's not, well, hopefully we can make it, some of it theirs, and they'll help us with it, but if not, it's, but we will go ahead and take care of it.
Of it, I guess that's.
We're gonna take care of the fence and put it up. That'd be the main part there.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry you had to sit here so long to deal with that.
And next item then is adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Second.
And who, Paul, you made the motion?
That'll be fine.
And Marty, all in favor of adjournment, do so with saying aye, aye, aye.
Aye.